All right, we're live. Welcome everyone to our September meeting of our Marketing and Market Research Tableau user group. Today we got a couple of interesting topics. First off, we have tapping into your LinkedIn data and then combining 8 Tableau dashboards into one. So that will have presentation from Ojo, and then I will be doing the second one. Before we get to that, we'll just do quick intros of our leadership team, a couple of announcements. We also like to get to know our community members, so we'll ask a couple of you to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about yourselves, and then we'll jump into our presentations for today. So for our leadership team, we have 2 of us here today, I believe. So I'm Josh Wilson. I started this group a couple of years ago with the focus on market research, and then we've expanded since then, added leaders, and then also expanded the topic to incorporate marketing as well. I'm an independent consultant. I'm in Chicago. Do a lot of market research, analytics, lots of survey data, and of course, visualizing survey data with Tableau. Sarah, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thanks, Josh. My name is Sarah Pallett. I am a consultant with Argano. We're a digital consulting agency that's global, and we do work for a number of different clients in various industries, marketing being one of them. Marketing and advertising in particular is very near and dear to my heart, because before I became an analytics consultant, I was in advertising on the media buying and planning side. So that's a little bit about my background. And I also wanted to mention we do have a swag giveaway at the very end of the call. So please stick around if you're interested in winning a little something from the Tableau store.
Yes. Thank you, Sarah. All right. Announcements. So first off, we have a Slack workspace. If you'd like to join, there's a QR code for you. We're always looking for presenters for our upcoming meetings. So let us know if you are interested in presenting. And then wanted to make a note about Dreamforce conference coming up. Sarah, would you like to tell everybody about that?
Yeah, so Dreamforce is Salesforce's annual conference. This year it's being held in San Francisco from September 17th and 19th, so it's happening next week. And this year in particular, there's going to be a few key Tableau announcements, and they're holding some Tableau-related sessions. So in the chat, I'll drop the link to do a virtual registration. And once you sign up, you can take a look at the agenda, and you can find the Tableau-related sessions if that's of interest to you. There's also a number of other marketing, brand sessions being held, customer retention, things like that. But in particular, I wanted to draw attention to the keynote regarding the new Tableau that they're debuting, and that is being held on Wednesday, September the 18th at 12:30 Pacific time. And definitely something that you'll be able to tune in virtually for. So I'll go ahead and put that link in the chat.
Great, thank you, Sarah. New Tableau, I'm intrigued. What could that be about? All right. Next up, we would love to get to know you guys a little bit better, or at least a few of you. So in the past, we've done it essentially like a spotlight on one person. That's why it says meet a community member, but we would like to make it more than one. So we would welcome any volunteers if you'd like to jump in and tell us who you are, what's your name, who you work for, what's your role, what is your experience, and then experience with Tableau and with marketing or market research. And if you're willing to tell us what aspects of data visualization are you good at, and then what are some things that you might struggle with. Floor is open.
Sure, I'll like to go ahead.
Sure.
So, myself, Nishu Jain, and I am from Delhi, India, and I'm working as a technical analyst in Expedia Group. And so I've been used to Tableau for about couple of months ago, and I created basic charts. So I actually got to know the power of different charts and the powerful insights it can produce, which can be useful to our leadership as well. So I decided to pursue this, and this is my first meeting, and I would like to learn more from you. Thank you very much.
Great. Awesome. Glad you're here. Anyone else?
Perfect. I'll go
Yeah,
ahead.
Mr. Mansell?
So we think we have,
Two people.
I heard
Okay.
Umar, I think, and Alan.
Yeah, probably Umar. Go ahead. I'll do next.
No,
Okay.
you may go ahead,
Sure.
please.
You can
You
both
may
go.
go ahead, please.
We have time.
Perfect. So I'm Marlon. I'm connecting from Vancouver. I work for a company called Tenacquil. It's a wholesale distribution company located in Montreal. So I basically work remotely. And my role over here in this organization is I'm working there as a Tableau developer. And my experience with Tableau started around in the year 2021. So close to 3 years I've been working with Tableau. Um, so what aspects of data visualization I'm good at? Um, I'm actually good in creating dashboards. Although I've spent almost 3 years, I really love to explore my knowledge on the parameter actions and set actions, I would say, in order to make the dashboard more interactive. So that's what I'm struggling at, I would say. So, yeah, looking forward to uh, those sessions and yeah, looking forward to learn more about it for sure. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what OJ will be presenting, but I will be touching on parameter actions. So hopefully that will be helpful for you.
Yeah, true.
So, all right. And Umar, you want to go?
Thank you so much, Mr. Wilson. Actually, you would be amazed to know that I am from a science background, but one person, Waleed Javed, who is present here, actually he is my teacher, and he got me into actual data analytics field. And I don't know why. Sometimes I feel regret why I did go to a science field. So, but now actually I'm enjoying so much. I have learned SQL, and now I'm learning Python. I'm making Excel, and now I'm into Tableau. I'm very fresh into it actually, and I have seen Mr. Ojo, and I just saw that he was going to have the session, so I joined it. That's it.
Great. Awesome. Glad we're bringing in new people. Anyone else like to go?
Sure. My name is Jamie Gergadis. I have a company called Deep Lake Insights here in New Jersey. I've been in market research for over 20 years, so a lot of my market research background has to do with B2B to B2C to political polling and everything in between in the process. And where I'm challenged with Tableau is taking your traditional tabs that most market research use and stuff like that and make it more interactive and stuff. So that's where my fun stuff is right now.
Tabs like crosstabs?
Yeah, typical crosstabs with SIG testing and all that other fun stuff in it, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've noticed that it's somewhat a little difficult sometimes with the SIG testing difference in bringing that into different aspects of Tableau and stuff.
Indeed. Yes, can relate to that. Yep, Tableau it's good. It's great for data visualization, but it's not like it's not market research specific, and there's a lot of stats and market research type of things that
and
not out of the box.
Yeah, exactly, and that's kind of my challenge is that I want to use those statistics to help highlight those stories that can be told in the data.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
yep.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. Ideas for future future talks. Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for coming. Anyone else?
This is Betsy Landon in New Hampshire. I can make it quick. I'm sorry about my camera, but Teams seems to be hogging the camera, so I can't make it work. But I work for a network industry B2B company, and I've been developing in Tableau for about 4 years. And my prior experience background is in digital marketing for about 20 years. So I know where all the data bodies are buried and how to bring them together. But my challenge, I think it's not just my challenge, but the challenge in general is not so much how to bring the data together, but it's how to communicate multi-touch attribution. And it's very complex. And when you understand it, it all makes sense. But if anybody else wants to connect and discuss ways of communicating multi-touch attribution in an effort to measure the ROI of B2B marketing, which is extremely challenging because you can spin it any way you want. So if anybody else would like to connect separately and discuss ideas on how to do that, I would love to connect.
Great. Yes, and I see you dropped your LinkedIn in the
Yes.
chat. So if anyone can help Betsy with that, feel free to reach out to her.
Thank you.
And another idea for a future. I can't speak about that one, but maybe we can find someone who can.
Okay.
Great. All right. Well, with that, let's move on to our first speaker. So Ojo is going to present about LinkedIn analytics. And I will stop sharing so that he can take over. Welcome, Ojo.
Thank you, Josh, Sarah, for the opportunity to share. I'm super excited. I prepared this fresh. I had a virtual copy of this going before, but I thought, let me do this better. Get into the weed of things. Most of us use LinkedIn, and I'm no different. When I land on my LinkedIn page and I want to look at analytics because I'm a data fan, analytics is my bread and butter. I want to kick around, but don't tell anyone. LinkedIn's not the best when it comes to understand how my posts are doing. So when I look at how many new followers I have in the last 7 days, it's not the best. If I do the last 14 days, it's still getting there. If I look at my posts, we can look at impressions. This is a marketing and market research team, so I do not want to speak to the choir, but for completeness of this chat, impressions are everything that people saw. You posted, they saw. And the engagements are when they hit a like or a share or something like that, when they interact with your post. Why was this important? We, in this current day and age, are all marketing our own skills and capabilities. And I thought, wouldn't it be amazing if we could do the same analytics and more in Tableau? So it's easier than you think. What I have here is something that I prepared in Tableau. The first trend chart is that of impressions. The second one is about engagements. And the third one as to how many new followers I have. The big numbers over here are based on are reactive to the choices I make on the date range. I could make this into a relative date slider, make it into a range of dates, and then it would be that much easier for me to interact with my data. However, let me go back to how it was, switch it back to a 3-month period, and interact with my data. This being the impressions chart, if I click on what is the highest point. It shows there are 11,000 interactions on the 22nd of July. And what I have here, as I hover over it, it should give me which post generated that many interactions. If I chose another date, I see 5,800 impressions. This is that post which generated 7,800 impressions. Similarly, if I do hover over or select a particular point of interest on my engagement strength chart, you get the idea. It shows me 155 reposts have happened on post. And when I hover over it, I get to see which post that is. This is particularly important for me. Why? Because I spend considerable amount of effort creating content on LinkedIn, and I would like to see the outcome of my self-marketing. This is the marketing team, and I thought, why wouldn't we want to look deeper? We send messages, we hit a reaction like a like or support or send a heart. These are all the activities that we do. We sometimes repost something that I like or something that we like. And it would be amazing if we could also look at the pattern, get some seasonality over months or by the days of the week. What I have here is marginal histogram. I think that's what this chart is called. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this marginal histogram is not only very helpful for me to understand how I've done over the months by week, but also gives an idea overall as to how my interaction with LinkedIn has been. But before we get into that, a little about me. I've been very lucky to have fallen into Tableau 12 years back. Ever since, I have enjoyed working in Tableau hands-on, in and out. I'm a data fan. I share my experiences. I build stuff with Tableau, and I share them on YouTube, LinkedIn. And my goal is to keep sharing my learning so that it helps you to learn as well. Recently, our team has, three of us are going to start a brand new Tableau user group on retail and consumer goods. So keep your eye out. I have shared my LinkedIn handle on the chat. Do hit me a connect, and then we can go from there. Enough about me. Let's go into how you could do this. I don't know how much time we have, but I'll try to give you an overview of the build process. It's easy to do, and I will be sharing, uploading this dashboard onto public and sharing the handle on LinkedIn. So the first things first, this is the instruction as to how you could go ahead and download your data into your system. It doesn't have to be as complicated as it seems. Once you apply for go through these steps, LinkedIn would send your data into your email. You can download it and then go from there. Let me take a moment of pause and ask, is everything sounding okay? Is it making sense so far?
Ojo, do they send it to you in a flat file? Like, is it in just like an Excel document or something like that?
Yes, that's right. Once you go through these steps and request for it, it's within 15 minutes they would send the first copy. And everything that I've used came back to me in less than 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Wow, that's fast. That's great.
Yes. That's one part of the data sourcing. The other is it's very simple. When you go onto the LinkedIn here and then show analytics, The trend charts that you see for 1 year back in history, you can download from here. So when you hit export, it downloads a file. And that's driving everything on this page. So once you have the data, it's showing my LinkedIn page. Let me close this so that the cookies go away. All right, the demo gods are not with me, it seems. Let's see what's going on here. When I hover over this, okay.
And Ojo, if I could just interrupt you, there's a question in the chat from Walid asking why, what is the difference between the numbers on the chart and actual numbers connected with the URL?
All right, good question. So on this chart, we see 8,400. This is the sum of all impressions on that day. The table over here, I hope Amanda doesn't send anything personal, but the table over here is showing the top 50 impressions in that time period. So it doesn't have the complete data. I'm subject to, and I'm at the mercy of what LinkedIn is sending me. So we'll have to bear with that. Does that answer the question? Okay, maybe we can circle back and look at the questions after. But what we have here are the KPIs at the very top. When I interact with my data and I say, show me only 1 month's worth of data from today, 1 month back, what I see over here are the numbers for that 1 month period of time. When I hit 1 year, I see the entirety of my year going backwards 1 year, 3 months. And this date range, if you're not a big fan of this type of a date range picker, we can choose a relative date or a date slider, what have you. I've used parameter actions. So my time scale on the x-axis is currently days. If I did weeks, it would change to a weekly granularity. And when I select a point on that weekly chart, it would show the top 50 impressions that were generated in that week. If I chose engagements, and this is also parameter actions behind the scene, now my list is showing the top 50. It's showing the URLs from the top 50 engagements that were generated for that specific week. And you get the idea. It's dynamic in nature. When you hover over it, it shows which article that was. I feel there is a possibility that you might need to clear your cache and cookies on the browser for this to be a seamless experience. You could also look at how this was wired in the dashboard action. I have a slew of parameter actions when it comes up. Dashboard actions. And here is the metric parameter that I was talking about. I do have a measure name and an analytics parameter that is getting picked based on which parameter I'm choosing. That is coming into play in the second tab. So when I choose select an activity, show me measure messages, my behind the scenes parameter fires the action and I choose which activity I'm going to show in the chart. So if I were to look into the data set, this is my day data. It's an Excel sheet with all possible dates. It's nothing to do with LinkedIn. It's just a calendar. My LinkedIn analytics for 365 days is what we can download when we follow this step of exporting from analytics. And then the other data set, which is when we request through the other process, which it comes into your Excel, these ones give us a whole slew of different flat files, your connections, your comments, your messages, reactions, whatever you reposted comes up as shares. So what I did is I tied them all together in this nice relationship model. I said, show me the followers, show me the engagements. Engagements is broken down by top 50 engagements and top 50 impressions. I want to make a list of all the messages, reactions, and shares. All of these are tied together using the day date attribute. So date with the date on shares, and my engagements similarly are tied together, relationship between using date. There are several possibilities. Once you have this data source built in a way that makes sense to you, you could go ahead and then publish your data source to server. And with Pulse, you can now use it to look at those metrics that make sense to you, and then you can take it around and look at it. You don't have to ever go to LinkedIn and struggle around with their 5 choices. You can slice and dice your own data and have fun with it. And that has been the goal behind this build, that you get to know what you are doing. If I looked at these are all the messages that I've exchanged since 2018, right? All the way till recent times. If I aggregated it by months, there is something that's looking straight at me. On 2019, around this time, November and December, a whole number of messages were exchanged between me and the universe. And the reason why that happened, if you guessed it right, was TC19. Tableau conference happened at that time, and my explosion on LinkedIn connections happened, and I exchanged a slew of messages. Let's look at reactions and reposts. Same story. I saw fantastic posts, not only from the Tableau community, data fam, but also sessions in the TC19, which I wanted to reshare, and I did. These are the November 2019 stats, and now I can drill down if I need. I haven't done it for reasons of this is my real data, and I didn't want to expose people and the messages that we shared, and I kept it general. But you could, if you did it on your data without worrying about GDPR. Same thing, 2020, December, there is a seasonality to it. 2024, February, March, TC24. So now we can identify patterns. You can do so much more. Anyhow, I want to take a pause and see if there are any questions. I've been speaking for a while, and that's not fair.
Thank you, Ojo. I love the fact that you can pull your data out of LinkedIn and create different visualizations. So you're not just locked in with the canned ones that LinkedIn provides. And I think it's also great to just take a deeper look at, your activities. Self-promotion can be hard for a lot of us. And so, seeing these numbers, it can be really encouraging. Like, okay, great. I'm getting some networking in here. So.
Absolutely. My Tuesdays are the most active ones. I don't worry about it. Today is a Tuesday. Look, I'm so active.
There you go.
Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you so much for the opportunity to share. It has been a pleasure speaking to this team. This is fantastic.
Thank you, Ojo. Have you thought about putting this out there for others to use? Just curiosity, like on your Tableau public, or is that tricky with you have to like clean it up because it's like your data, right? You have to kind of maybe get some mock data or something like that.
I have built it to share. Yes, I will share it. The way it is, if I don't give it for download, it serves as an inspiration. I can do that because the moment you switch on the download, you get access to all my data. So that could be the hard part. But yeah, the way it is aggregated at this level, I think it should be fine. I tend to put it on, and this session is recorded. So anyone who wants to build along or has a question, the entire purpose behind user group meetings is to inspire, is to share your learning and go from there. It would be a shame if I didn't share it on public.
Great. Yeah, it's really cool. I didn't know everything that you can do with your LinkedIn data. So now I'm getting ideas. So thank you for that. All right. Let me switch back over. Get all my screens set up here.
Josh, while you're setting up, there's another question in the chat from Jamie. Ojo might be able to answer it. Wondering if LinkedIn offers API access to data.
Yeah, I thought of saying it and all my nerves, I missed it. Yes, there is an API support for it, Jamie.
That's great. Good to know.
All right. I'm ready. Got 3 screens. I got 2 presentations. I got the.
Take your time, Josh. You're wearing multiple hats today with hosting and presenting. So.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully this works. Sure. There we go. All right. I'm going to talk about how you can have 8 dashboards in one using something that some of you may be familiar with. It's called dynamic zone visibility, which sounds like a really sort of technical term. We'll dig into that and simplify that. So let's say that you're a data analyst or a dashboard designer, and you've been tasked with creating a set of dashboards that go together. Maybe you're looking at business performance across different functions. Maybe you're analyzing your ad spend, or looking at your LinkedIn data, or somebody's company LinkedIn data, or looking at project management categories like team statuses or project risks, where you have multiple dashboards. They're a little bit different, but sort of the same general look and feel, and you're kind of navigating between them. In my case, it was different key areas within a survey, right, which we'll take a look at. So these dashboards have some common elements. You want them to all be the same size, right? You want them to have the same fonts. The title formatting should be the same. You'll have probably a navigation menu that you want to be able to click around between the dashboards, some images. You know that you're going to be creating these dashboards, and let's say you only have 4 or 5, and in my case I had 8, but however many you have, let's say you have 5, and any design changes that come in, that could be, okay, we need to change the size of the dashboard, or we need to anything about the look, kind of the look and feel, that you're going to have to make that change 5 times because you want it to be consistent, right? So, you might have to make, all these updates multiple times. You might, make some mistakes, and if you're really, anal like me, then you want to make sure that every pixel is right, and so that can be frustrating. So it's also time consuming. So I sought out to find a better way. And that is using dynamic zone visibility. So it's, like I said, it's kind of this technical term. It basically means that you're showing and hiding different parts or potentially the same area within a dashboard. And it allows you to switch between different views and maintain a consistent layout. So any of these sort of shared elements, like you might have a navigation menu or your title, or you have a logo somewhere, any of these things that are shared will be, the same, right? Because it's one dashboard. We're just kind of, you could almost think of it as like layers, where let's say you have a section of the dashboard has your charts, and instead of switching between different dashboards and all that's changing are those charts, now you're on the same dashboard and still all that's changing. So you're just like showing and hiding that portion for whichever navigation section that you're clicking on. All right, live demo. All right, let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the dashboard that I have, and you can see we have different categories along the left. This was for Black Women Thriving report conducted by Every Level Leadership, which examines the experiences of Black women in the workplace. And we looked at key topics that you can see here on the left: access to opportunities, belonging, burnout, etc. And we wanted to have different dashboards for each of those topics, which each had 2 to 4 survey questions. One example, right? So, and just to give you another example, I pulled this off of Tableau Public. This is from Pradeep Kumar. And in his, you can see there's only 2 dashboards, which makes it easier to work with if you have them separate as 2 dashboards. And you can see he's using, with his, it does, I can tell that he's, it's the same sort of layout. I'm guessing he created one and then copied it to the next in order to get the same layout, like in the navigation, let's say. And he has navigation buttons in here that are going between the dashboards. So this one, now we're on the top performers dashboard, and there's a cockpit button that takes you back to that cockpit dashboard. So that's kind of like the standard way, I would say, to do this. Is so in my case, I would have created 8 different dashboards like this. They would each have the same menu on the left with buttons, and I would have, if I knew exactly what my design was going to be, then I could set it up to start with. If I knew it wasn't going to be changing, and then I could just copy it to 8 times. Challenge comes in, and in my experience, there might be some changes at some point. Maybe you get to the point where you're publishing it online, and it's not working for certain screen sizes, and you need to kind of change things around, and then I would have to change it 8 times in this case. So rather than that, I had this idea to use dynamic zone visibility. So what it's doing, this is one dashboard, and I'm going to be clicking in my menu over here. And what it's doing is it's whatever I click on. So I clicked on burnout. It shows me my burnout section. And when I click on something else, it hides that one that I'm just looking at. It hides the burnout, and it hides burnout and everything else. And it shows me, in this case, compensation and earning potential. So in doing that, I just have to set it up one time. and it allows me to, make changes to the overall design. If we wanted to change anything about it, like the size of the dashboard is a big one. I don't know if you guys have ever been working. You got your dashboard all set up, and then you need to change the size, and everything kind of goes all over the place. And if you only have one dashboard, it's not too bad. It's annoying, but if you have multiple dashboards, it starts to get more and more annoying, let's say. So the way I have this set up, this is just the title is just a text. It has a parameter. I have one parameter. It's this like key area parameter that's driving a lot of different things. One complexity that this does introduce. So instead of having buttons on the left, buttons are pretty easy and straightforward. You can see over here, you just, you insert the button, then you edit the button, and you say, okay, where do you want to navigate to? And that's pretty much, all you need to do. Maybe you're setting up some, elements that are sort of highlighting, in a different color when you click on it, or actually, that would just, if it's separate dashboard, you just kind of set that up on the dashboard because it wouldn't change. But anyway, it's more straightforward to do that with multiple dashboards. And now, I'm not using buttons because I'm not actually navigating to any other dashboards, right? So how do I get it to switch between the different, quote unquote dashboards, or sections of the single dashboard now? And the way that I do that is I've sort of layered on a few different things here. So kind of at the top layer, and what I'm actually clicking on is this key area selector, I've just called it. And all it is, it's a list of these key areas. So these are my navigation elements. And there's going to be a parameter action that is, let's see, let me unhide that or hide that again. Don't want to see the header. So on my dashboard, go to actions, and there is a, let's see, parameter action where I am, and now you can see how many worksheets I actually have on this dashboard. Most of them are hidden at any given point. So it's another consideration when you're weighing which route to go, and I'll get more into sort of like pros and cons and when to use one dashboard versus multiple. So the different levels of complexity here. One is that there are a lot of worksheets in one dashboard, even if you can't see them. So this is only for the key area selector, and it's just it's going to basically set my key area parameter to whichever one I'm clicking on, and that's going to drive that parameter drives the title. It also drives what gets highlighted. So the highlighting is actually another worksheet that's kind of layered on here. So one is I'm just clicking, and then that's the key area selector. And then this sheet selector overlay is where you can kind of see it's just a white rectangle sort of shape, which I brought in over here. I was trying out a few different rectangles and landed on, I think this one. That one has a gray background, but you could so you can put in a shape. It could be like a rectangle. I kind of just wanted to try rounded edges, but you can add all of those in and play around with different shapes. So when I click here, that top layer is kind of invisible, and then it's driving the parameter, and then based on the parameter, it's showing me my it's driving essentially everything. It's driving the title. It's driving the section that I'm seeing over here, and it's driving my highlight, the white rectangle that you can see. Let me pause there and see if there's any questions so far.
Did you say you're loading all sheets at the same time then? I'm just wondering about performance.
Yes. Excellent question. And that is one of the bigger drawbacks, I would say. The answer is yes. It does load them all at once. So it's potentially not for larger data sets for that reason. And I did try to optimize for performance by, removing anything that I was not using. So, and that's at the data source. I used Tableau Prep to get all the data ready. So I went in there and I just combed out all these fields that I knew I wasn't going to use. And then even here, I also use a data source filter to filter out, because there are more questions in the survey than the ones that are on this dashboard. I use a data source filter to filter out all those other questions. Still ended up at somewhere around like 12 seconds, I would say, when filtering. So I have some filters set up in here, and so that's definitely a drawback. And now I have, this is like, 8 dashboards and 2 to 4 worksheets on each one. So maybe say 24 different worksheets on one dashboard. So these are things that you need to kind of take into consideration is how many worksheets are you actually loading, how large is your data source. But yeah, performance is definitely a consideration. Anything else for now?
And there's a question here from Karen. I'm new to Tableau's dynamic zone visibility and application. It's actually just a feature within Tableau. I think it was released as maybe 2022 version. Do you recall, Josh?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, right around then. So it is part of Tableau Desktop.
Yes, and I can get I can show you kind of what it looks like. So and one sort of tip here, this might be even more broadly applicable. So I have another dashboard here that's just for me. I just made the background gray so that you could see these different containers, and I also put the white border around them so you can kind of see how they're set up. I didn't actually use those borders, but what I'm doing is you can kind of see what goes together. So I knew that as I was building these dashboards, it was going to be probably in a 4x4 layout in a lot of cases. I might want to have 2 of the worksheets of the charts kind of next to each other and be able to edit, move them around that way, or I might want to have them, kind of vertically and adjust them that way. I had these layouts set up ahead of time, and I have also all the padding set up. And so if we look at this one, I can see I have, it's all 12 around there, around each of these individual containers. So I got all that set up, and now all I have to do, as I'm building it, I can, by the way, if you double click on this little grabber on a container, it will select, or on a worksheet, it will select the container that it's in. So I'm just double clicking a couple times to get the larger container. I can do a Control-C, which will copy dashboard item. Do a Control-C, and then I come back over here. Again, this is as I'm building it out. I can paste it over here. So now it's kind of sitting in here, and I can drag out my worksheets in there. And I know that all of my, like I said, my padding and my borders and everything are kind of already set up. So it's like my little template. What's in there? that's okay. I think it's just containers within containers. Let's just undo. Once the worksheets are all in there, so let's say I'm looking at burnout. I've got all of the worksheets in there. Now for the parameter, or for the dynamic zone visibility, that's under the layout section over here, and it has where it has this control visibility using value, and this is where you actually need one for each, because this is a true false. So in this case, it's burnout, and it's going to set that one to true, is what it's basically what, or it's this container is going to be shown when this nav3 burnout is true, let's say. So then if I'm like driving that, let's see here. I can remember how this works. So I think these are, I was thinking that these would be different parameters, but I don't have different parameters. Maybe they are. Oh wait, maybe, oh no, they're calculations. There we go. There we go. Okay, yeah. So this so any true false calculations, it will show you as available. Let's say. So if I wanted to, now I'm only selected on one worksheet here, but if I wanted to control the visibility of that worksheet and only show that worksheet when something, when a true false calculation is true, then I can do it over here. And those true false calculations then are going to be driven by my parameter action. So when I'm clicking over here, that's going to drive everything. It's going to change those true false calculations. And let's say if we looked at one of these true false calculations, it's just saying, okay, when my parameter, so my access, this is just sort of my shorthand right now, and I put nav1 so that they come in order for me. When my parameter, my main parameter, when my key area parameter is equal to, in this case, access to opportunities, right? That's when this one is going to be true. And when this one is true, or I think we were looking at, so let's say it's access to opportunities. So when that's true, then it's going to show me, because it's controlling the visibility using my nav1 access, true false. So once that's true, then it shows me this. Okay, so that's kind of how dynamic zone visibility works. And you kind of get a sense for, there is some complexity in doing that. But if it's helpful, because particularly like for this project, it was sort of like blank page, and we didn't know exactly what it was going to look like, and we were trying out different things, and I wanted to move forward without being locked in to a particular layout that, in order to, get to a certain point and then make changes, I'd have to, like I said, make the same change to 8 different dashboards. So, and I think I was looking for an excuse to, solve a problem in this way. I like to just, play around and see what's possible. So yeah, and then the performance is still definitely a concern though. So on that note, maybe let's talk a little bit more about maybe when to use dynamic zone visibility. So when to do it this way. Yeah, if you have shared layouts, when there's different views of common elements, talked about that. Prototyping and iteration, yes. So if you know that you're going to be, your design is not necessarily set, then that can be helpful. So you don't have to continue making all these changes to multiple dashboards. Yes, mobile is also something. I haven't gotten to this point yet. We're kind of talking about a mobile dashboard, but I can see it being helpful for mobile as well. I haven't done a ton of mobile design, but the ones that I've done, you know, if you want mobile to look decent, you know, Tableau will kind of shove everything into a mobile layout, right? But if you want to look decent, you have to be a little bit intentional, and it takes some effort to kind of get it to look nice in a mobile format. And I feel like if I had these like 8 different dashboards, it'd be kind of like starting from scratch. So I feel like that would be more difficult if in creating a mobile dashboard versus just having a single dashboard. So more on that to come potentially. Yes, and then if things are going to change frequently, if you expect changes going into the future, then potentially this is a better option. And when you want to use multiple dashboards would be essentially if things are different enough, let's say, that you don't have many common elements, potentially that would be, you want to keep them separate. We talked about larger data sets or complex calculations. Anything that is hindering performance is potentially going to get multiplied as you have more and more worksheets in a single dashboard. Yeah, unfortunately, there's no way to. I played around with this a little bit as well. Can't get it to only load what you're looking at. Only what is shown. Let's say it will load everything that's in the background, all those worksheets that are in the background as well. If you have simpler navigation and you want to use buttons, obviously that's a point towards multiple dashboards. It's easier to set up that navigation than doing kind of the layering, and you don't necessarily have to put that rectangle and with the white, and maybe there's another way to do that, but that's just kind of the way that I went with it. But either way, buttons are definitely simpler as far as setting up your navigation. And if you know that it's not going to change, or maybe very minor changes, it's just, you're at your company and you always do dashboards this way. It's always the same size. They always have these elements, and you're not going to have to change those sorts of things on a bunch of dashboards multiple times. Then could be a point for multiple dashboards. So then just a couple other points. So obviously minimizing the data set is helpful. That includes if it's possible to aggregate the data at the data source. I couldn't do that in this case because of all the different filters and the way that I want to slice it. Other than that, using data source filters or context filters, I didn't mention. Context filters are on each sheet. I guess I didn't have any in here. I thought I did. Wait, let me go to these guys over here. Yes, so context filters are the gray ones here at the top in the filter section. What that does is it filters your data before it hits your worksheet. That means if you have any fixed level of detail calculations, for example, they will not these context filters take place before those fixed level of detail calculations. So in that way, it's another sort of layer of removing as much data as you can before it kind of makes its way into your worksheet and your calculations. So those are context filters. Yes, talked about, yeah, obviously we need to use parameter actions and things like that to rather than navigation buttons, and making sure that yeah, I don't remember what that point was about. So I'm just going to go to the next slide. All right. So in summary, so why would you use the dynamic zone visibility approach? So it's ideal where you have these common elements, and especially when you want to be flexible. So that there might be some changes. You don't want to have to make these changes a bunch of times. It's the same change a bunch of times. And you want to potentially use multiple dashboards if it's clearly defined, and or as far as the design is clearly defined, and or you have these complex needs if it's lots of data, or the dashboards themselves are kind of unique. And then maybe separate dashboards might be better. So with that, any questions? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Folders. I'm big on folders. Another thing with the filters, this is kind of a habit that I got into, is when you're bringing in these fields from your data source, they might have these sort of technical sounding names, and then when you like creating filters, then it sticks that name on there, right? So I just ended up, this is sort of for organization, but so instead of it having this SS_age, I wanted to say age, and then I use that for my filter. So that's another organization point. Potentially adds to like performance concerns, but I did test it out, and it didn't seem to do, because it's just sort of passing through that value. So I'm guessing that's why it doesn't seem to have an effect in my limited testing. So. Yeah. So this is, it's not going to be on Tableau Public. It will be through, because so it will be through the like my client's website essentially, and you can kind of sign up and get access to it, I think. So, but it's not public. It's not even available yet. Let's say, but maybe when it is, I'll see if there's a way I can, let people know. I'm sure. I mean, she's going to want to publicize it, so see if we can kind of get that word out. So you may have to like sign up for something. It should be free. That could be a way to get access. Yeah, definitely. One other. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. One other thing I can mention. So this is kind of a trick that has helped me in a few situations. So whenever you are clicking on, not like the marks in your visualization, I guess it happens there too, but whenever you're clicking, it always essentially it highlights, right? That's just what Tableau does. And if I don't want it to highlight, for example, in my menu, when I'm clicking on the top sheet, I don't want it to highlight this square. You can kind of even see the outline if you look really close. But what happens is there's a way that you can have it automatically unhighlight, let's say. And so more kind of for your awareness, I don't know why this works, but and every time I just sort of like follow the steps, and it just sort of works. But you have to set up these two fields. One is just called true, and the other is called false. And you have to set up this highlight action on the worksheet itself, not on the dashboard. And you sort of go through these steps where you set up this highlight. So you do selected fields and true. Again, true and false are just, so let's look at this. True and false are just either true or false. So this is my true calculation is just true. And then go back to my action over here. This sheet. So we set up a highlight action. That's just selected fields true. That's one, and then the other is this filter action. Now this one you set it up at like the data source as a source sheet. You pick the sheet, and then the target sheet. You pick the sheet here, and basically just do it exactly like this, and it works. And I can't tell you why. But he says like source field is true, and then the target field is false. Somehow it's telling it to basically make it false immediately, and then that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Any other questions? How will we use DZV with performance-based alert zone? Could you elaborate on that, Waleed? Anyone else have a question in the meantime? I'm not sure what you mean by performance-based alert zone. Yeah, you'd think that there would be like some way to just turn that off, that highlight, that like automatic highlight. But not yet. Maybe there's an idea out there that we can vote on.
Check the new releases.
Yep. All right. Well, can flip back over here. You know what? Why don't we let's go. Maybe we do our maybe we do kind of a wrap up here, and then if people want to stick around, we can chat.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So again, this is our Slack workspace. Feel free to join there. We will let you know about upcoming events. If you have any sort of challenge that you're facing and you want help with, you can post it on there. It's with multi-attribute, or what is it? What was that?
Multi-touch attribution.
Multi-touch attribution.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Multi-touch attribution. If you're in marketing, or if you have, trying to figure out how to get this wide data into tall data for survey data or anything like that, you can post it on our Slack and reach out to us if you want to present at a future meeting as well. And we have our swag giveaway. So get ready.
Drum roll,
Type
please.
into the chat. Okay, so we're going to put oh, did you put the question in the chat?
The
Sarah,
question, I think, is on the next slide. And
okay, so put your answer in the chat. So there's going to be a question. So whoever answers this question correctly first, will be our swag winner. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh, title. There we go. What are the dates for Dreamforce 2024? Type it in the chat. Whoa, that was fast.
Oh, wow. Very good. Betsy's our winner, September 17th through the 19th. Excellent. So Betsy, I'll send you an email with your prize. It's a gift card for the Tableau store. So you can get yourself some Tableau swag.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Great. All right.
Yeah,
well,
super fast on that.
So we do, sometimes we have networking breakouts.
Can we have your channel link, please?
What was that? What did you say, Umar?
I mean, the Slack channel you have recommended to join. Can you please share the channel?
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
Great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, we can do that. Yeah, just give me a minute. I'll put it in there. So we like to do some networking breakouts. So if you want to stick around and chat, set up a couple of breakout rooms, and you can talk about, first of all, introduce yourselves, and then we can talk about, if you like, LinkedIn best practices, what you thought about the presentations today, when have you used dynamic zone visibility, or when you think you might be able to now. And I will create the breakout rooms, and then there should be, you should see on the right-hand side. All right, so we'll do 3 breakout rooms, and the time limit. So you should get a notification when they're ending. So I'm creating them now, and then I don't know if you'll be automatically transferred over there. I'm creating them now. You should see a blue Join Now button.
There is a pop-up window, yeah.
And click on the blue Join Now to head to the breakout rooms. I'll stick here for a second, and I will find the link to join our Slack.